You exercise your right to freedom, and this is the result. This is why we chose you. You accepted the fiction we provided, obeyed our orders, and did everything you were told to.
The first time you experience Metal Gear Solid 2, you'll probably complete the mission as intended. But once you discover that the entire operation was a carefully orchestrated simulation, and that you were played from the beginning, you might load up the game again with a slightly different mindset. You could efficiently speedrun the game, or collect dog tags. Or perhaps you could explore a different approach to test it. Would you ignore the mission? Repeat something pointless? Go somewhere you were never meant to go? Or attempt to expose the boundaries of your artificial reality by kneeling in front of a urinal and asking your commanding officer what he thinks?
Raiden, I didn't know you had such weird interests. Not that there's anything wrong with that, though. Just that, well, it's a little weird.
Jack, I think that's a little weird.
The scientific method is rarely dignified. Because when you deviate from the script, Metal Gear Solid 2 doesn't simply ignore what you're doing. Through the codec, it praises, mocks, and judges you before pushing you back towards the mission, and occasionally remembers something embarrassing you did hours earlier. So, are these just unusually elaborate Easter eggs, or is there something more unsettling going on here? Like most games, Metal Gear Solid 2 gives the player a clear channel for instructions. That channel is the codec. The Colonel gives Raiden his objectives and Rose records his progress. If the player becomes lost or heads to the wrong strat, they point him back towards the intended route. That kind of feedback is normal. The player deviates from the route and the game corrects them. But what happens when Raiden pauses his mission to rescue the President of the United States to work on his pull-up game? At first, the game is surprisingly supportive. After 100 pull-ups, the Colonel notices that Raiden's grip's improved.
Raiden, your grip has gotten stronger. Guess your hard work has paid off.
Rose tells him he's doing great. After another 100, they praise him again.
Raiden, your grip went up again.
Jack, you're truly amazing.
So, naturally, the player continues. Because if the game rewards 200 pull-ups, surely it wants us to do 300, right? It does not.
Raiden, how long are you going to keep doing that? Forget about doing pull-ups. It's about time you return to your duties.
Jack, don't get too carried away. There are limits to everything, you know.
Because apparently 300 pull-ups during an urgent hostage rescue is where it finally becomes irresponsible. Part of this is the game telling us that the grip gauge cannot be raised any further. Metal Gear Solid 2 could have communicated that silently with an icon. Instead, it turns a hidden strength mechanic into a workplace performance review. To us, these are repeated button presses used to improve a stat. To the Colonel and Rose, Raiden has chosen to spend an unreasonable amount of time exercising during a national emergency. That difference is what I really want to focus on. Metal Gear Solid 2 keeps taking things that usually sit outside the story, grinding, experimentation, wasted time, strange item choices, and making its character acknowledge them. A mechanic starts to resemble behavior, and that behavior gets attached to Raiden whether he likes it or not. Many of these calls depend on where the player stands, what they look at, what they hold, or what they've just done. It works almost like a real-time point-and-click mechanic. Instead of clicking an object to receive a description, you create a situation and call somebody to find out whether the game has noticed. Nobody tells Raiden to spend precious time during a hostage crisis exercising. Nobody asks him to go to the places he probably shouldn't go or do things that don't really make sense. Those actions belong to the player. But once the codec responds, Raiden is the one who has to live with them. This creates one of my favorite relationships between a player and a protagonist. We perform the action, Raiden inherits the consequences. Raiden doesn't independently decide to enter the woman's bathroom. We move him there. He doesn't wake up that morning and decide 300 pull-ups are more important than the president. We decide that too. But when the codec opens, nobody scolds the person holding the controller. They scold Jack. The jokes turn into character writing. A equip the cigarettes before saving, and Rose notices immediately.
By the way, Jack, are you smoking?
Yep.
I thought you quit smoking. Why did you start again?
There are lots of reasons.
Look, I'm only thinking about your health, okay? Remember the last time you quit, how hard it was?
Yeah, it was pretty tough.
To the player, the cigarettes are an item with a useful gameplay mechanic. To Rose, they're a relapse. Raiden's solution isn't especially reassuring.
Wasn't it? So you should
I've got it, Rose. I've thought of a way to avoid all that pain and suffering.
What are you gonna do?
Keep smoking.
Jack!
Just kidding. I know it's bad for me. I'll quit as soon as I get back.
A tiny equipment choice becomes evidence of a shared history. It tells us that Raiden has tried to quit before, that Rose was there for it, and that his idea of coping with difficulty is occasionally just to surrender to it. The same thing happens with location. Mechanically, entering the woman's bathroom is just walking through a door that happens to open. The Codec treats it as a decision that requires an explanation. Raiden offers the weakest cover story imaginable.
I can't believe you, Jack. Do you know what that place is?
I just thought maybe the bomb disposal instructor might be in there.
Why would he be in there?
Well, you never know. He's AWOL and...
Even AWOL, a normal guy wouldn't go into a woman's bathroom. You're the only one I know who would. You're like really strange.
Rosemary, settle down.
But
It's all right. Raiden, Rosemary is right. You should probably look someplace else. I can really sympathize with you there, though.
what, sir?
Nothing. Raiden, that's that. Return to your duties.
You guys are unbelievable.
Authority, discipline, and mouse stupidity achieve perfect alignment. The response changes if you stay inside a stall.
Raiden, that's long enough. Hurry up and get back to your duties if you've seen enough.
Jack, in retrospect, I'm really glad that I took this assignment.
Huh?
It's given me a chance to see you for who you really are. Goodbye.
Which is a devastating conclusion to reach about a man because somebody else left him sitting near a toilet for too long. Now, if Raiden equips the book and enters a stall, the whole thing escalates from suspicious exploration into something far worse.
Raiden, what are you doing there? With that?
I don't believe it. What are you thinking? Enduring your duties?
I highly disapprove.
Even though every one of us is scrambling to do our best to support you, this? And what exactly are you going to do? Drool over pictures of voluptuous girls?
Exactly.
At least use a picture of me instead.
What?
I mean,
I completely disapprove.
This works because several interpretations collide at once. The player is testing whether an item and location interact. The game treats it as a conscious personal decision by Raiden. Rose and the Colonel interpret that decision according to their own personalities. Rose is offended, jealous, and immediately embarrassed by her own reaction. The Colonel is officially disapproving, although not quite disapproving enough to stop contributing. There's no achievement for finding this, and no meaningful reward beyond the call itself. The reward is discovering what the cast thinks the situation says about Raiden. Games usually protect their protagonists from the person controlling them. You can run in circles during an emergency, repeatedly crouch over a corpse, or spend 10 minutes walking into a wall, and the rest of the cast won't bat an eyelid. Metal Gear Solid 2 cannot react to everything, obviously, but it makes a more deliberate effort than most games to stop protecting Raiden's reputation. The player asks, "Did the developers expect me to do this?" The codec answers yes, and unfortunately, everybody saw you. Some calls do more than acknowledge a single strange action. They change when the behavior continues. A single mistake is accidental, but repetition looks more like intention. During the Harrier fight, Raiden can fire at the Kasatka carrying Snake and Otacon. The first time, Snake questions his aim.
Right, where do you think you're aiming?
This is fair though. In my many playthroughs, I've hit the Kasatka plenty of times. The second time, he tells Raiden to stop messing around.
Stop messing around!
By the third, he starts to wonder whether this is personal.
You have something against us that we don't know about?
The game has recognized a pattern. Snake's response shifts from correcting bad aim to questioning Raiden's motives. The bathroom calls work in a similar way. Entering the room can be dismissed as curiosity. Going into a stall suggests commitment. Kneeling in front of the toilet causes the Colonel to reconsider whether Raiden should have been placed in charge of anything.
A Raiden?
Jack, give it a rest. I can't bear watching you do that.
I disapprove. Return to your duties. That's what I feel like saying, but I'm beginning to feel like putting you in charge was not such a good idea.
The support team begins to feel as though it's forming an opinion of him. Not every opinion is funny. Shoot enough seagulls and the Codec doesn't congratulate the player for their aim.
Raiden, do you actually enjoy abusing helpless animals?
I don't believe this. I had no idea you were that kind of a monster.
I don't understand you, Raiden. If you're satisfied, get back to the mission.
That judgment is slightly ironic considering Raiden's profession. But the act has no tactical purpose and no believable excuse. It's cruelty performed because the player wants to see whether the game will react, even if the seagulls do occasionally aim back. The Colonel doesn't care whether the player was testing a weapon or checking the collision. He asks whether Raiden is enjoying doing it. Rose treats the action as new evidence about the person she loves. A private player impulse, what happens if I shoot this, is dragged into a social relationship. The hostage haul pushes that further. Attack restrained hostages, and the Colonel describes Raiden as if he's enjoying himself. Rose takes it personally.
Raiden, you appear to be enjoying yourself slapping around defenseless hostages.
I can't believe you. I didn't think you were the kind of person to do such a thing.
Good thing you saw him for what he really was, huh, Rosemary?
Yeah, I don't know this person anymore. Goodbye.
And then we come to one of the more uncomfortable examples. If Raiden puts Jennifer, one of the hostages, to sleep and aims the digital camera at her inappropriately, the Colonel and Rose condemn him.
Raiden, what are you doing? You forget yourself.
I can't believe you. What's wrong with you?
I highly disapprove.
I'm just...
What do you mean, I'm just?
Rosemary, you're right. One shouldn't stoop to vulgar levels just because they've set foot on the battlefield. But I can sympathize with you there.
You what?
Nothing.
How twisted. The both of you.
Actually taking the photograph produces an uproar, mostly from Rose.
Jack, what the hell are you doing? You are sick, you know?
Rosemary,
Colonel, was I wrong in what I did?
perhaps. There are certain things that a person can and can't do.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
You understand?
Yes.
Come out of this thing alive, both for yourself and so as not to waste your training.
No need to tell me that, Colonel.
Right. And I recommend you not throw away that picture.
Colonel?
What?
You're not joking.
Huh.
Are you?
Continue your duties. Understood?
Yes, sir.
It's a very Metal Gear conversation. Rose is left supervising two idiots during a national emergency, while the Colonel's moral authority seems to vanish here. Taken together, these calls build a very loose and very strange portrait of Raiden. He can appear dedicated, curious, distracted, immature, or cruel depending on what the player decides to test. The Colonel, meanwhile, has no business delivering moral guidance to anyone, AI or not. Obviously, this isn't a real psychological system. Every response was written and triggered in advance, but the player doesn't know which behaviors were anticipated until somebody answers the call. Most of these examples are jokes. I don't think Kojima was making a profound statement about free will every time somebody equipped the book near a toilet. But the jokes establish a design language. The player performs an unnecessary action, the codec recognizes it, and the characters decide what it means for Raiden. The game uses that same language for something far less funny. Early on, if Raiden kills a soldier, stands over the body, and then saves the game, we get this.
Rose, no comment?
About?
I've killed someone.
Jack, it's a battlefield.
My opponents are living, breathing human beings. This isn't like the VR training. They have bodies. They have had lives. I took all that away from them.
But you've got no choice if you want to survive.
And yet, maybe because of the VR training, I can't help but try and block out that reality. It's the only way I can manage to fight.
Jack,
What?
I don't care what it takes, just as long as you come back alive. Do whatever it takes, please. Just come back in one piece.
Okay.
An efficient player has no reason to stop. The guard has been dealt with, and the route is clear. The mission tells us to continue. This call only happens because the player doesn't. For me, this is one of the most important optional conversations in the game. Metal Gear Solid 2 normally encourages us to treat an enemy body as a practical problem. Drag it out of sight, hide it in a locker, or step over it and keep moving. Here, Raiden acknowledges the life that was there. The optimal path is simple: kill, or avoid, and continue. The optional path makes him contemplate what that requires him to suppress. We made the lethal choice. Raiden has to find the words for it. This is what I meant when I said that Codec turns gameplay into character writing. The same system that can make Raiden look ridiculous can also make him look more human. Guilty, frightened, and painfully aware of the difference between VR targets and living people. For a moment, the guard stops being a physical problem and becomes a moral one. Rose's save conversations often live in this more personal side of the game. She's technically there to record mission data, but saving also becomes an excuse to retrieve pieces of Raiden's private life. At one point, she even refers to a darker side of him and perhaps even implies that he's physically abusive.
It was the first time you ever raised your hand against me.
Raiden repeatedly tries to return the conversation to the mission, because the mission is easier to deal with for him. These calls aren't all reactions to outrageous player behavior, but they still sit outside the efficient path. The game is already saved. The player has to remain on the codec and choose to listen.
Look, I'm sorry.
It wasn't your violent nature that scared me. It was your room, your heart.
Stop it.
There wasn't anything in your room. Only a bed and a small desk. It looked like a prison cell.
Rose?
No television set. No family pictures. Not even a poster.
Rose, I only use that room for sleeping.
A lifeless room. Almost like your empty heart.
That's why I tried to keep you out.
I thought I was beginning to understand you. Until I saw that room.
Would you have been happier if I had a picture of you hanging on the wall?
That's not what I was trying to say.
Enough, Rose. We'll talk about this later. After the mission.
Right. After the mission. I understand.
After the mission becomes Raiden's escape room. He can discuss the next target, bridge, or weapon without hesitation. What he really struggles to discuss is himself. These conversations interrupt the operation with feelings that serve no tactical purpose. The main story contains huge emotional moments, of course, but those moments arrive with cinematic emphasis. The optional codec catches the cast between their official roles, and can often catch us off guard too. Rose becomes more than an analyst. Snake becomes more than a legendary soldier. Emma becomes more than a programmer needed to upload a virus. Raiden becomes more than an object being moved through the S3 exercise. Once the codec has answered one strange action, it changes how you approach the next one. At first, the experiments feel private. Can I enter this room? Can I shoot that? Will anybody react if I call from here? Then somebody does. From that point on, every odd situation starts to look like a possible conversation. Metal Gear Solid 2 is not genuinely watching us, of course. Every response was written, recorded, and attached to a specific trigger long before we picked up the controller. But we don't know which actions the developers anticipated until somebody answers the call. That uncertainty becomes part of the fun. And one optional response shows that the recognition can last much longer than a single scene. If the player triggered the secret book call in the women's bathroom, the corrupted AI kernel can refer back to it during Arsenal gear.
I can't believe it. That someone who has committed all those twisted acts in the woman's bathroom would make it this far. Oh, this is the end of the world.
This line is ridiculous, but it establishes something concrete. The game didn't simply react in the bathroom and forget about it. It stored the earlier condition and used it again several hours later. For one embarrassing decision at least, Raiden now has a history. That's probably as far as the direct evidence takes us. The optional calls aren't a secret Patriot surveillance system, and I don't think every joke is hiding a grand statement about free will. What they do show is that Metal Gear Solid 2 gives weight to choices without needing them to rewrite the plot. 300 pull-ups won't stop Arsenal gear from launching, and killing seagulls won't unlock an ecological terrorist ending, even if it probably should. The destination stays the same. The journey becomes more particular because the game responds to what this version of Raiden did along the way. That idea fits unusually well inside the Big Shell incident itself. Raiden's actions are real, but the operation controls the information and circumstances around him so carefully that those actions continue moving towards a prepared outcome. As the Colonel explains, S3 doesn't need to direct every individual movement. It creates the situation that shapes what Raiden becomes.
The S3 is a system for controlling human will and consciousness. S3 is not you, a soldier trained in the image of Solid Snake. It is a method, a protocol that created a circumstance that made you what you are.
So you see, we're the S3, not you.
The optional codec isn't a miniature version of S3. The connection is much simpler. In both cases, Raiden acts inside conditions somebody else has prepared. His behavior is still his own, but the environment is ready to interpret and respond to it, and make it part of the experience. It all feels appropriate to Metal Gear Solid 2. The game doesn't ignore us or stop us from going off script, but it shows the script had something ready to say when we did. We left the intended path, but we never left the stage. It'd be easy to remember these silly optional codecs as elaborate punchlines and Easter eggs. Many of them are exactly that. They're jokes and rewards for the players curious enough to waste time, combine strange conditions, or test something the mission doesn't require. But together, they do something more specific. They take a mechanical action and decide what it means inside the story. We press the button, Raiden becomes the person responsible. That's the part I find most fascinating. Metal Gear Solid 1 used optional codec calls to reveal the people behind the mission. Metal Gear Solid 2 uses these obscure calls to reveal the person behind Raiden, or at least, the version of him who decided that executing 12 seagulls was a necessary evil for revenge. Calling these moments Easter eggs isn't wrong. It just misses what they achieve when they're viewed together. They're small pieces of character writing offered through player behavior, in a game already obsessed with simulation, observation, and control. The first time you play Metal Gear Solid 2, you'll probably do exactly what you're told. But the next time you decide to go off script, just don't assume nobody noticed.
Honestly, though, you have played the game for a long time. Don't you have anything else to do with your time?